Welcome to BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and this is another Handy Andy segment. But we're on site today. We're on site with Big Fish Contracting, and we're going to teach you the proper way of doing a roof. There's a lot of change in the last 50 years. When I did a roof compared to today's standard, there's a lot difference with the shingles, with the ice guard, with even the pipe vents and so forth on it. So I'm really anxious to show you how to do a roof the right way with the right products and with the right company. All right, so Tommy, tell me about the house we're at. Tell me about the job. You know, what's with the customer here?
All right.
Tell me about it.
So we're over in Jefferson Hills today. Customer's name is Karen. We have a steeper roof, about a 912 pitch. And the previous roof she had was just kind of slapped on over top. So we have a double layer of shingle tear-offs that we're doing as well today. So it takes a little longer for setup, making sure we have everything properly protected. But a little longer for the tear-off as well. It takes longer for those guys to rip through everything. The pitch today is a 912, so you're looking a little more like that as opposed to anything walkable. You're leaning a little more this way towards flatter ground. Takes those guys a little longer to set up, like I said. You can see them with the ropes.
Safety reasons?
Safety reasons, definitely.
Okay.
Everywhere we go, safety is our #1 priority. So making sure those guys are properly tied down, proper harnesses, so that we know everybody will be going home safe tonight.
Now, you said that this has a double roof, so 2 years of shingles. So this is probably 60 years of shingles.
I'd say about that.
Here?
Yeah. So the last roof she had put on had been on for about 30 years. So whoever was too lazy last time and just slapped some new shingles on over top of that, who knows how long they were there before that. I would expect that they were original to the home.
Why should a homeowner not look for putting shingles on top of shingles?
A big thing we like to do, obviously, we want to make sure the integrity of the roof is intact, and we need to get down to the bare decking to find that out. If there's any broken pieces of wood, anything that's rotted out from leaks over time, it also helps too, we can pop up in the attic and see if there's mold on the underside. So we need to get down to the bare decking to inspect everything.
Okay, along with that then, how about, we hear a lot of ice dam, a lot of ice damage to a house and so forth. And I know we're going to get into taking a look at your ice shield that you put on underneath the shingles. When somebody's putting shingles on top of shingles, do they even bother to put an ice shield underneath?
9 times out of 10, I'd say no.
Okay.
And you're kind of hoping that the original home at the time, they might have had ice and water down, but that's a newer product, so it's mostly that old 10-pound tar paper that just crumbles. So yeah, nowadays we run ice and water shield along all the gutter lines, through any valleys, around any other penetrations in the roof, like a chimney, any pipe stacks, any box vents, any ventilation like that. That's actually code in Pennsylvania. It's required to be 24 inches inside the warm wall of the home.
Okay.
So we'll come in with a 3-foot roll. Typically, an overhang soffit-wise is about 1 foot. So they give us, pre-manufactured from GAF 3 feet. Chop off that 1 foot from the soffit, and then you have your 24 inches then to protect inside the outer wall.
Is it just a rubber sheeting? The ice shield?
Yeah, essentially. It's more granulized like the shingles as well, to help break down anything, let that run off properly.
Okay.
But from there, like I said, we'll lay down that first layer. You'll have your 3 feet or your 6 feet, depending on the package that you choose. And then after that, we'll lay down, not that old tar paper now, we have more synthetic felts, which is Felt Buster, or Deck Armor is the upgraded version for when you're doing the 6 feet of the ice and water shield as well.
Okay.
That'll lay across the entirety of the rest of the roof, anywhere that we don't have ice and water shield.
Okay, and then the shingles?
Shingles right back on over top.
Okay, and on the shingles itself, they still go on the way they did 50 years ago when I was doing roofs?
So there's definitely some upgrades to them now. GAF in the last year and a half or so came out with what's called the HDZ shingle.
Okay.
And those, the special thing about those is, one, they have a bigger nailing zone, which makes it a lot easier for our crews to run through the shingles a bit quicker. They're also manufactured at the plant chemically bonded on the back. So before you'd find a lot of shingles delaminating and pulling apart
Right.
over time. Now with that bond that GAF makes, they're impossible to pull apart.
Okay. Now, shingles, can you lay shingles 12 months a year in Pittsburgh? Does the cold weather, can you still do shingles in cold weather?
Cold weather definitely affects it. Like I said before, we're in Pittsburgh, so the weather's pretty unpredictable.
So normally you're putting on roofs maybe 9 months out of the year
I'd say
around
so.
here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Okay.
We work as much as we can. We want to keep these guys working through the winter, and Big Fish is great about keeping everybody employed through the winter as well. I know a lot of other roofing companies lean towards not working at all in the winter, but we try our best to keep moving through.
So what can you tell me about the crew? How many you got? 1, 6, 8, 9 people up on that roof right now?
Yep, got about 10 today. So
10? Okay, I was close. So tell me about the crew that you have up there on the roof.
So these guys are fantastic. I work with them every day.
Okay.
6:45 in the morning till whenever we get to go home, whenever the roof's finished. Great guys. I really look at them as, extended family, because
Okay.
most days I'm with them more than I'm with my own
So
family.
is you being the crew chief overseeing this job, I mean, you're using this same crew
Yep.
day after day after day.
Yeah,
It's not,
absolutely.
It's not as if you have a different crew every day and you
Nope.
don't know what they're doing or who you're working with.
Nope, they're not any sort of fly-by-nighters. The company that's here today actually is part owner of Big Fish.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our owner, Ben Fisher, last year opened up the opportunity to these guys, extended it to a few of the employees who had been here longer term, to buy into the company and really invest in something that we think is going to be great and has been great for such a long time. So having these guys buy in has been fantastic. They were actually the first crew that Ben brought in. So from day one, they've been with us and stuck with us the whole way. So it was nice to see them get rewarded in a sense and
Yeah.
become part
Well,
owners.
it says a lot that you have the owners of the company that are up there putting the roofs on themselves.
Absolutely.
So what are they just are finishing ripping off the old roof is
Yep.
what they're doing now? Now along with that, are they changing gutters, changing siding, what else are they actually doing on this job?
Today, just a straightforward roof. Going to rip the roof off, give them a new one. We do offer, obviously, gutters, siding work, anything like that. She did just get siding more recently. The gutters are in pretty good shape. So just like I said before, those 2 layers were getting a little worse for the wear. She had some shingles sliding today, so that's what we're taking care of.
Now you've met the customer?
Yes, I have.
Okay, now do you meet the customers before the job itself, or is that just the salespeople do
The
that?
salesmen will meet them prior when they come out to do their inspections. Obviously, their talks throughout the sales process. But I won't meet the customer until the morning of, but I'll be here on site at 7 a.m. First thing I do is pop out of the truck, go knock on the door, introduce myself. We get comfortable with each other, and I'll go over her scope of work that Ed sent over to me, make sure everything's lined up, checking colors of shingles, any sort of special details that a customer might have, and that's how we get to build the relationship.
Now, prior to you getting here, were the shingles and dumpster and everything delivered the day before, or is everything just the morning of?
Everything is the morning of for us. That's something that I think sets us apart from other roofing companies in the area. I find myself constantly driving and seeing a dumpster and a pallet of shingles that are sitting there for who knows how long.
Weeks.
Yeah, definitely gets in the way of the customer's daily life. So we like to bring everything in the morning of. So like I said, when I get here at 7 a.m., I'll be meeting with the customer, and typically between 7 and 8 o'clock, we'll have our shingles and dumpster arriving.
Okay. And then this roof will be done today.
Absolutely.
You won't be leaving until it's done.
Nope.
Okay. So a house this size, you started at 7. When do you think you'll be done? Is this a 12-hour job or a 14-hour job?
I'd say closer to 12.
So you should
Especially
be done
with
about
the
7
amount,
o'clock at
yeah,
night.
with the amount of guys that we have today, definitely.
And then how many jobs a week do you personally do
We try to do 5 a week, 1 a
as
day.
a company?
As myself.
As yourself.
Myself and the crew. We have one other project manager currently running in roofing. So on average, we're trying to get 10 roofs done in a week.
Well, I'd like to talk to you about shingles, the type of shingles. Do you have some shingles and some ice guard that you can show us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, Tommy, we got different products, but I want to start with the old before we go to the new.
Yeah.
So you have, on this roof itself, you were talking about that it had on the old time
paper. Yep.
Tar paper. I don't feel any tar with it. Then we have a 60-year-old shingle, more or less. Then you had a 30-year-old shingle on top of this.
Yep.
So what made you determine that this was a bad roof?
So the 30-year-old shingle from Ed's inspection photos here had actually started to slide down the roof.
The
And
whole
that
shingle started to slide.
push its way down, yeah. That's another issue with just putting shingles back on over top.
Okay.
Those nails don't always get to catch the decking and hold tight.
They're
just
just
trying to make
shingles
their
nailed
way
to
through there,
shingles.
yep, and those are a little easier to pop out and, like I said, work their way down.
Okay.
On top of that, you can see here just how brittle these old shingles are,
Just snaps.
just like that.
And that's not supposed to happen.
No, sir.
Now, isn't there supposed to be grit
Yep.
on shingles? This is perfectly smooth.
As smooth as can be.
There's
So over time,
nothing on there.
all these new shingles are layered with 100,000s of granules.
Okay.
And over time, obviously with the pitch of the roof as well, with snow, with rain, those start to wash away.
Now this pretty much snaps also
Yep,
with it, with no grit, no surface or anything on it.
absolutely nothing at
Now,
all.
and the shingles are supposed to adhere to each other
Yep,
also?
you can kind of see what
I
was
can
left
see it,
of
but I
it.
can't feel it.
Hand comes right back up.
All right, and on the back of this, there's, once again, perfectly dry, and there's this paper over top and still perfectly dry with it.
Yep.
Now, I see some roofers staple instead of nail.
Yeah.
What the pros and cons,
We don't use staples ever.
Okay.
We're not big fans of those.
and
at all.
why?
They're just so thin to us. They're not strong. They're not going to hold as well. We use 1 3/4 nails for all of the shingles, and as well as the laying down your underlayment. I know people are prone to use staples as well. I think it rips through things a little too easy, and the nails that we use are plastic cap nails. So as another fail-safe.
Large surface.
Yep, and anytime water might work
So the
its way
surface
under the
is
shingle.
over an inch
Yep.
compared to maybe about a half inch at most
Maybe
on a
that, if you're
nailhead
lucky.
with it. Now I've seen in windstorms where entire sections of shingles blow off.
Yes.
Is that normally from staples, not nailing? Is that why that
from-
happens?
From staples, nailing improperly, and any number of reasons, but yeah,
So
staples
the
are a
wind can
big
just
cause of
catch
that.
under it and pull it right up itself on
Yep.
it. Okay, so we see old school. Show me what you're putting on this house.
Here is what we're going with today. I touched on it earlier. This is the new HDZ shingle
Very
from
gritty.
GAF. Those are the granules we were talking about before.
So
You can
compared
feel it
to
rubbing
here.
off.
And I can feel nothing on this.
Yep,
And this is flexible.
yep. No brittle, no breaking.
So this,
Fresh out of the package.
okay. That doesn't. It's a little bit different. Okay, now what brand of shingle is this?
GAF.
Okay, and I know there's quite a few different brands of shingles.
Yep.
In your opinion, obviously, you like GAF.
Yeah,
So why? What do you
like-
like about GAF?
Like I said, these shingles in particular, we touched on the wider nailing zone compared
That's this strip in the middle here.
to. Yep. So from here to here is what's called the strike zone for
Okay.
these guys. As compared to this older shingle here, they had to hit this line exactly, and you can see they didn't do that
They missed
properly.
it.
A little high nailed here.
And in the real old ones, there were no lines
Nothing.
on them.
Nothing. And these, to nail, you had to hit that line perfectly to make sure that they would fasten together and not pull apart.
Okay.
With these, if you go ahead and flip this over, you can see straight across here, mechanically fastened from GAF, from the warehouse, from the beginning.
So that's where they're nailing.
Yep, so they can nail all the way through here, but these are chemically fastened here, so you're not going to have them pulling
It's
apart.
not going. Now, with GAF, what warranty is on this brand of shingles?
So we offer 25 years on the workmanship of the roof and 50 years on all the material.
So this shingle has a 50-year life to it?
Yep,
Okay, now I'm assuming there's lots of different designs,
definitely.
lots of different
Colors, yep.
So design and color has no bearing on the quality of the shingle. It's just what the customer picks, customer likes.
Definitely. There's some thicker shingles that the GAF offers as well. Other companies that don't offer the same look. Obviously, the aesthetic of the home is a big thing for customers,
Right.
and they want that right color, they want the right look that feels right for their home, and GAF is able to offer that to them.
Okay. And inventory, I know for a while shingles were hard to get.
It was a little rough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we okay on
We
in
are
the supply channel right now?
back up and running,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Now let's talk about what's underneath this shingle.
Yep.
So what else do you have to show us here?
So we'll start with the GAF Felt Buster. This is the new synthetic underlayment that we
Okay.
touched on earlier
So that
compared to that
is-
old tar paper.
What is replacing this?
Yep. So
Feels
sa-
a lot stronger.
Yep. Same thing as the old 30-year-old shingles.
Okay.
Cracks in your hand. We can stand here.
There's nothing you're going to do
Nothing's
with it.
coming apart.
Okay. Now this covers the entire roof.
Everything else that isn't covered by the ice and water shield, it will
So
cover.
the ice and water shield and this are separate. They're not used together.
The ice and water shield will go on first. Then this will cover the rest that isn't covered by the ice and
Okay,
water shield.
but you don't cover the ice and water shield with this?
Nope.
Okay.
They're separate.
How about there's a lot of homes with valleys in it?
Yep.
Now, the old way of doing valleys was metal flashing, copper, aluminum.
Yep.
Do you still do that in all the valleys of a house?
No, we actually use what's called a California closed cut valley, where we will weave the shingles through the valley. So you'll have shingles from here coming through the valley, nailed onto this side, shingles coming through here, and then we chalk a line and cut straight down to give you a nice even cut.
And explain what this ice shield is. What's this paper in between? And
So this paper in between here, oh, that little peel here. This is just on the back. We'll rip this off. And I touched on it adhering straight down to the deck. You can see my fingers are sticking to it now. So all this is to just allow these guys to roll it across the roof. When they're ready to lay it down,
this
we'll
is
peel
rolled
this
on?
off. Yep,
this comes in rolls?
yep.
So they just start on one end and unroll
One end,
it?
unroll it. They'll nail it down with those cap nails that I touched on
And
a
it's
second ago.
actually, you said it's 36, so it's going on the roof
Yeah,
this
so
way.
edge
So
of the
you're-
roof here, we'll lay down.
So the ice building up under
Has to
has
work
this
3
whole
feet.
distance before it actually gets into a house.
Yep. And then if it does manage to work its way all the way up, this is where the Felt Buster runs in. Once this ends, the Felt Buster starts.
Okay. So chance of getting this ice dam, water damage,
Very slim.
very, very slim on it,
Yep.
even if your gutters are prone to freezing.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now other parts of a roof, you have vents coming through a roof.
Yep.
Explain what you have here.
Pipe flashings here, new pipe boots as we like to call them. These are actually 4-in-1, so they're built for any pipe size from 1 inch to 4 inch. And you can see here the little rings around. It'll have labeled here 3-inch pipe, a 2-inch pipe, 1.5-inch pipe. The guys will take their knives, cut right around this circle perfectly. They can peel that right out, and then it sticks down
And
around
then the pipe just pushes right up.
right up through.
Okay, and how long does this rubber seal last?
Typically 15 to 20 years.
Okay, and then shingle is built up all the way up and
So it'll
around?
come down and around. Typically stop the cut around right here. Cut it around the round of the boot, and we'll have shingles here, here, work their way up to here as well. So the
Okay.
shingles below this will actually slide up underneath, and this will lay down on top of the row of shingles.
To take
front
care
of
of the flow of
Yep.
water coming off the roof itself. And we use this on any pitch of house?
Typically, I mean, once you get into some real steeper pitches, they're a little tougher, and you kind of have to work some magic on some of those with
Okay.
some different products that we offer. But I'd say about 9 times out of 10, this is what you're having around your pipes.
And is there a normal number of vents that are in a house? Or is there just
It's
one
different.
per bathroom, one per kitchen?
I'd say it's different on every
Okay,
house.
every house on it?
Yeah.
But they're handled separate?
Yep.
How about when you're going around chimneys then? Or is there still flashing around the chimneys?
Yeah, so our chimney flashing process is a little extensive, I'd say, but we just want to make sure that there's not going to be any water getting into the roof or in through the roof. So we'll lay down this layer of ice and water shield.
Will be around the chimney?
Yep, down to the decking, and we'll actually run it about 5 or 6 inches up onto the face of the chimney itself. And then we will shingle up to it. When we run those shingles, we'll put one shingle down, and we have individual pieces of 4x8 metal step flashings that we will put on top of that shingle, lay down another shingle there, then another piece of step flashing, then another shingle, all the way up for the entirety of the roof. And then when it comes to the flashing of the roof itself, our crews will grind into the mortar of the brick. They'll make their brand new flashing custom bent the day of. They'll be able to tap that into the brick. Over top of that, we'll lay down some new caulking. So for any water or moisture to get through, it will have to go through caulking, behind the bend of the flashing, down through step flashing, through shingles, and then ultimately underneath the ice and water shield.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not much of a chance water getting through around
No.
the chimneys itself. So is there any other products that you're using on this roof that we need to see?
So ventilation at the ridge.
Okay.
I'll grab this right here. We use GAF Cobra Snow Country Advanced. This is your ridge vent here. Fiberglass material on the underside.
But that's flat, or it just peaked.
So,
Aren't you good?
yeah, how about that?
Okay.
Bend it over like that and it'll fit to the peak of the ridge.
Okay.
It comes with these individual 3-inch nails, and you see across here, they have your nailing holes set for you.
Okay.
Drop right in here, nail it down to the roof, move on to the next one, drop this down till it's nailed down on both sides. And then what we'll get into is capping these off with GAF's Seal Ridge cap shingles.
Okay.
So GAF will offer the same color in Seal Ridge, or there's an upgraded version called a TimberTech cap shingle. It's twice as thick, so you could imagine this this one ply here, add 2 on there. It offers a better shadow line, more of a better pleasing aesthetic for the customer.
Okay.
But these come in 3 in one row here, as opposed to the other HDZs, just one wide shingle.
Okay.
So you crack these open, and they lay
And then on
perfectly
top.
right across. So you'll start here, next one will come over here. The adhesive that we talked about that is on the underside of the shingles, we have those here to make sure that they stay down at the edges. Pop one of these in, nail here, and on to the next.
Perfect. All right, Tommy, let's talk about Big Fish.
Let's do it.
Great name on a truck. Why the fish?
So our boss's last name is Fisher.
Okay.
About as simple as that. He's a
Okay.
bigger guy, and he'll admit that too. But
Okay.
it
he's
was pretty
big and
easy to
he's a
get
fish.
that.
Okay. Okay, on the name. How long has the company been in business?
Year 7 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's relatively a newer company. Can you walk us through why did Ben get into roofing?
Yeah. So he actually grew up in Canton, Ohio, Cleveland area. And he had an uncle who was doing roofing in the area, and when he was about 13, 14, he would come over in the summers and help him out. So he had that background from the beginning, but he also saw some flaws that his uncle had with his company, and he's real focused on customer service, and we like to pride ourselves on being a customer service company in the roofing industry. So when he saw a niche in the area with a lot of companies that are fly-by-nights, that won't return calls, that are just doing things with bad business practices, he wanted to take that opportunity to leave his mark.
Okay. Well, he has. 7 years and growing, and they do have a stellar reputation on it. But
We try our best.
what can you tell me your end of it? I mean, how long have you been in this industry itself?
This is year 3 for me with the company and in the
Okay.
industry.
Okay, so what did you start with Big Fish? What was your first job?
I started here as a salesman. I
Okay.
came in for an interview. My cousin actually lived down the street from Benny, and hooked us up for an interview. And I got in and just talked to Benny for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours almost. And it felt like the right fit. His ideals lined up with mine. Family-oriented, people kind of guy. Like I said, he always wants to do the right thing, and I try to pride myself on that as well.
So Tommy, tell me about the process. A customer is thinking that they may need a new roof.
Yeah.
They're not sure, but they may. So they call the phone number for the company.
Yep.
What happens?
The first voice they'll hear will be Valerie. She's our customer service receptionist, one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet.
Okay.
She'll then from there take down all your information, address, how old your roof is, why you're calling in for that particular appointment. From there she'll assign you a project advisor, and they'll reach out to you as quick as possible. They'll schedule an appointment. They'll come out, they'll get their inspection, they'll fly their drone, they'll get up on the roof, and really determine if you would actually need a new roof or if you would need a repair. We have a full-time service team here, and I think that's another thing that sets us apart from everybody else is the salesmen aren't pressured to push people into a new roof from the start. I think a lot of companies will try to push customers in a direction that they don't need to go. Where we, like I said, have that service team that can come out and repair your roof and you know, prolong the life of it to help a customer out financially or just for the time being if there's a current leak going on.
Okay, and then from there, what?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
say they do need a new roof, then what happens?
So from then, the salesman will bring back all their notes, all their findings, all their measurements. They have their estimate built out, and then it'll go over to our operations coordinators in the office where they will schedule and order the job. They'll supply the date, the time, the quantities of everything. That gets put onto my schedule then. When we figure out what day and time, they'll reach out to the customer about a week and a half prior. And then the day before, myself or whoever else is running the project will send one last final reminder, you know, giving them the times that we'll be here, dumpster, material, crew arriving, everything like that. And once we're on site, it's all systems go.
Okay, now the job is finished, say today's job is finished, then what happens?
Once we're getting wrapped up, doing our final detailed cleanup, running our magnets, picking up last little bit of debris everywhere, I'll go knock on the door, I'll bring the customer out, and we'll do our final walkthrough.
Okay.
We have a checklist to go over everything that was in their scope of work, everything that we did, just basically re-explain to them, and it gives the customer an opportunity while the crew's still here to say, hey, you know, that doesn't look quite right to me. Can you explain what's going on? Do you mind having those guys go back up and just fix that real quick? And it saves us a lot of time on the back end because most companies will just say, hey, we're done, drive on out, and the customer's not completely satisfied. So that's something we like to make sure that they're happy with.
Okay, so from that initial phone call to that final walkthrough, are we talking weeks, months? What's a normal time frame for you guys?
I'd say it's
I mean, there's variables involved.
definitely
understood.
variables involved. I'd say about a month,
Okay,
3 weeks, so we can flip things around. Sometimes it's even quicker. I know we like to put high priorities on customers who are experiencing leaks or problems where we need to get there as soon as possible.
Right.
So there's times where we've sold a roof on Monday and we've been there the next Monday or even that Friday,
Okay.
where we're able to shuffle some things around and take care of them.
but Big Fish, you're sold on the company.
Absolutely.
Tommy, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know your crew was out there working hard, and we dragged you away from your supervision on it. But you know, I really appreciate the time and the explanation.
Yeah.
Explaining to us the old way, the new way, and how much work and effort and thought really goes into putting a roof on. It's not just something you show up, swing a few hammers, and you're all done. There's a month-long process that goes into what you and Big Fish does for their customers itself. So we want to thank you, and we want to thank Big Fish as a whole for allowing us to be on a job site itself. So
Absolutely. I appreciated you guys coming out here. It was cool that you picked us, and we appreciate you kind of giving us a little bit of a spotlight.
yeah, we're trying. You guys deserve it. You have the business ethics and customer service that is near to my heart. I've been doing the industry for 50 years, so it means a lot to taking care of the customers. It's all about the customer support.
All right.
So, but thank you everyone for watching BPTV. I'm your host, Andy Amrine, and we'll see you soon.